Evening all, welcome to Tactics and Dust, and we are now at video 99, so it's time to conclude this series. And what we're going to do is we're just going to basically show some really good footage in the background of a great bit of team tactics. It kind of all goes wrong. We thought we'd do a bit of office stomping, if I can say it, and it kind of goes right and wrong at the same time. Enjoy. But basically we're going to talk about what have we seen in Series 3. Now think about it. Series 3 has encompassed, I think, certainly the high point and the low point. So it really has been the rise and fall, perhaps, maybe, of Dust 5 on 4. We saw around the start of the year was when we kicked off the new series. So we just concluded, if you saw, I don't know if you saw it, we did a Dust retrospective up until the new year, which was about a year and a half's worth of Dust. So it's pretty interesting stuff. And that was the end of Series 2. Then we started Series 3. And in Series 3, we've obviously done fittings, lol. Haven't done I think we've maybe done one or two, but pretty much they're all non-fittings videos. It just became pointless because everybody knew the fits anyway. And I think there's no real kind of big secret about how to fit things. They were the same in Series 2 as they were in Series 1, almost. So we should probably have done a bit more, but anyway, there we go. So we did fittings videos and we did a tactics series, which did include some discussions around tactics. Hopefully you enjoyed them. And we then also had our main series, which was Kicking Dust, and that's obviously our kind of magazine show, just talking about what's going on in Dust. And we're going to do one more of them, then that is it for Series 3. And soon we start Series 4. And if you haven't checked the Twitter feed, then you're missing out, because Trouble, who does all the artwork and is also the boss, has been doing the artwork for Series 4 and tweeting it, or twitting it as she says. So if you're not following her, then go do it now. You really should. The link is in the description, so just stop what you're doing, go and follow her right now and check out some of our interesting artwork coming. Now let's talk about where we've maybe been in Series 3, and let's talk about where hopefully we're going to go in Series 4, because there has been that announcement lately. We always committed to do a 4th series. It will be our last series, no matter what. I think this is a good kind of indicator to say most series on TV get crap after 3. So you've got basically Series 4 is something for you to not look forward to, because it will probably be crap. We're combining all the videos into one, so it'll be tactics, fitting, and kicking dust all in one series. Just done for ease, really. We're not really, there's no real kind of science behind it, to be honest. We play the game, we enjoy it, and then we do videos of it, and that's pretty much it. But I think, so what we've seen in Series 3 of tactics, and we'll talk tactics at the moment, is we have seen, I think, certainly the game evolve considerably. I mean, let's face it, the game has gone through, a very high point, PC obviously becoming quite a big thing, all up until pretty much FanFest, where we were privileged to do the keynotes video for CCP. That was obviously a very nice thing for them to ask us to do. However, we kind of retrospectively realized that obviously they then, after our video, then killed the game pretty much. So there was always a negative, I'm afraid, there. But to be honest, that was a high point for the game coming into FanFest, and obviously a low point leaving it. Obviously lots of drama, etc. I think it's been very sort of sad in a way that there has been such, I guess, vitriol, if you like, sadly, out of what happened at FanFest. But I think they've recovered the situation relatively well with the hot fixes, things like Alpha, Beta, Charlie, Delta. And I think generally, the game has continued to be a very fun, engaging game. I think really the reality is there has been quite a considerable loss of players, which is always sad. And other games have come out that really have taken a drive away from the game as well. So it is a bit of a tricky year to kind of, well, it's not even the end of the year, but it's been a tricky time to summarise. So anyway, we've seen start Series 4. Let's look forward to what we're going to actually talk about in that. And I think the reality is that 1.9 is now coming, and I think that is obviously going to be an interesting thing. We played tonight. The gang got together and we hit the maps, and we basically saw what we could do, and we had a blast. Everybody was loving it, and I think there is still a significant amount of fun to be had with this game. Just the way I was playing this game with run and gun was just unbelievably fun. So I kind of really do think this game is still quite exceptional. It must be, because otherwise I would be not playing it. And there's a good indicator, because if you think about Destiny and all the stuff we did with Destiny, you know, it's still a good game. We enjoyed Destiny, but it really didn't grab us like this game has grabbed us. Now, this is just my opinion. There are plenty of people out there who are going to say Destiny is the be-all and end-all, and it is your absolute, you know, go-to game now. It's everything you've ever wished for. It's brilliant. It's awesome. Grind, grind, grind. And if that's the case, then good on you, bro, because there's nothing finer in life than having a game that you are psychologically and, you know, almost kind of, you know, enjoying completely to your core. And I do believe that. And I think there is nothing better in life than when you've got that. I had that with E for a while, and then I have it with Dust. I enjoy playing Dust. I think there is still no shooter out there that gives you the floating around speed and aggressiveness of that kind of one-hit kill style gaming that I enjoy in this. Others play differently, but this is how I play. And look at this, watch me kill this tank. This is a great example of the game. I'm an infantry dude with a plasma cannon, and I'm really hurting this tank, and I'm about to go and finish it off in style. Blap, boom, love it. And I think any game that allows me to do that gets thumbs up from me. So I think this is good. I think honestly, don't fall into a crowd. Don't fall into a subset of people who say you've got to love this, and therefore, you know, you're not in the cool gang if you're not playing this or you're not liking this. Just play what you like. Be a free spirit and play what the hell you like. So there we go. I think really Series 4 is going to be a kind of, we jokingly were going to call it Unplugged. But calling it Series 4 Unplugged, Dust 514 Unplugged, sounded a bit insensitive, if you get what I mean, bro. So we decided not to call it that, just because we'd end up getting trolled, and then we'd probably have to have difficult conversations with people, and we'd say, no, we didn't mean that. So we just decided to call it Total Dust, and that's just a simple way of saying it's everything to do with Dust. It's fittings, tactics. It's going to be a bit of ARSE labs in there as well. We're not giving up on that format. That obviously is a very enjoyable format, and I think really it's just, you know, we're going to carry on. And I guess I'm just sort of, you know, summarizing and concluding and closing this series, Tactics, with that kind of theory that, you know, there is a great thing to be said about Dust in that it is a very tactical game when it wants to be, and I think that I do stand by that statement. The reality is that Dust was always going to be a bit of a kind of unlucky, unhappy chappy, because everything in terms of maps and modes was very constrained. But when you realise the freedom that you have with fittings, and when you realise the freedom that you have with the tactics once you're in the maps and the vehicles and the fittings, etc., and the modules and, you know, etc., this game is very, very, very tactical indeed, and I do believe that. I think there is so much here to enjoy. I mean, when I think about the way that I play this game, I just have different styles. You know, sometimes I'm feeling happy and jolly and we'll go and play with something like a Flaylock and Plasma Fit. Then sometimes you just want to get the job done, so you'll do a tank. Other times you'll maybe run Logi. So, you know, I think that has to be a primary part of the game to be celebrated. And I hopefully think, you know, we've done so many videos on tactics. I mean, literally, we've done 100 videos on tactics. Well, 99 now. So I think definitely if you've not really, you know, seen too many of them, then go check them out, because there is a real kind of, you know, fun element to be had with this game. And plus the nature of the game changing obviously means that the tactics obviously change as well. So I think that's always a good thing as well. I think if that could be something that continues, that would be awesome. Now, looking forward again, we're going to have this kind of, as I shake my head and try and phrase myself, I think the problem we're going to have is when Legion comes out, well, let's just talk about that. Legion is still not green-lit. It's still a bit of a quandary if it's actually going to be released. And I think this just comes from the fact that it's still very debatable if you can see what really Legion is going to do other, you know, beyond what this does. And if they're really just going to move Dust to the PC, then maybe they should have just removed Dust to the PC and maybe just gone for it. I don't know. I feel maybe starting a new game is kind of the issue here. And if you go and check CCP's kind of financials and where they stand as a company, they've had a bad year. Last year was painful for them. So it's fair to say that you can kind of understand that what they want to do now is have a bit of security, a bit of safety. And the last thing you want to do is kind of launch another product, which could be quite costly in R&D costs. So I totally get that Legion is very much an if still. It's not a when, it's an if. And I guess I respect that quite a bit. It's not the easiest thing to say to people, because obviously everybody wants to play Legion. It's going to be awesome, I'm sure it will. But the reality is that if the business isn't right for it, the worst thing you want is for them to release a product that could destabilize CCP entirely. And that's obviously what you don't want, because that could be, lights out for all of the other good stuff that CCP do. No, I'm not being nice about CCP. I'm just being very honest and open that the reality is they've got to be careful right now. And the worst thing they could do would be to have something that just destabilizes everything. Dust as well. Dust would be impacted. If Legion kicked off and it was a disastrous launch, Dust is done as an IP. So they have to do it right, and it means taking time, and it means getting the backing for it as well. So, it's not a bad thing. It's still technically not green lit. I actually don't think it should be rushed into green light, but there we go. We'll see how it goes. So Series 4 will deal with all of that, and I think really we're going to look at obviously playing Dust in a continued format. I think really we're going to try and do a bit more fun. We're also, again, for those that give a monkeys, we're going to change again our style of videos slightly. So we're not going to do daily Dusts. Don't ever expect to return to the heady days of daily Dust. Because we're going to do much better produced videos. We're actually going to include a little bit of proper focused narrative, etc. So we're not just going to release any old bilge and talk over it like this. We're actually going to try, I have to give a bilge warning because there still will be bilge, but what we're going to do is actually just put a bit more kind of time into them. They'll probably be a bit longer as well. So that's the kind of feeling. A lot of it comes down to, you could do 2 or 3 videos a day. It's not difficult. It seriously isn't. It's kind of time consuming, but not excessively. So like DayZ, for example, right? I could talk forever about this, seriously, so I'm going to shut up in a minute. But DayZ, right? If you record like an hour and a half or 2 hours of DayZ, you're pretty much guaranteed 20 minutes of action because fuck all else happening. But with Dust, you're guaranteed. You could just record a single match for 15 minutes and bang, you could put that in. That's all relatively interesting because there's always action all the way through it, unless you snipe or unless you do something stupid. If you play like I play, you're always going to have something that you can show. So I think this is why it kind of gets more interesting when you think to yourself, well, let's put a bit more in here. Let's maybe do a bit of slow-mo. Let's put a bit of special effects in here. Let's like highlight some funny stuff we see. So I think that's kind of what our desire is. And look, when you had a match like that, that was a fun match. But there we go. So here we go. Concluding Series 3 of Tactics. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you in Series 4.